You ever had the world explode into red-blue strobes before the sun even thinks about rising? 12 men in full battle rattle screaming, "Get on the ground. Drop it. Drop it now." While you're standing there in Carhartt overalls and rubber boots holding nothing more lethal than a flake of Timothy hay that still smells like summer? That was me, Riley Harper, 53, widow, ex-Chicago PD captain with 3 gunshot scars and 1 broken heart. 5:47 a.m. on a Tuesday that was supposed to be quiet, frost glittering on the pasture like scattered diamonds, my gelding Thunder rearing against the fence in terror, my mare Luna spinning circles of pure panic. When the Riverside County Tactical Team came roaring down my lane like the 4 horsemen had a GPS, and it pointed straight at my half-finished barn. Laser dots dancing across my chest, barrels up, a voice barking suspect armed and threatening to shoot trespassers. And all I could think was, Daniel, baby, you'd laugh your ass off if you could see this. Because the woman who dialed 911 from a burner phone she bought with her own Visa at the Springfield Walmart. The woman who told dispatch I was a violent Chicago gangster holding the neighborhood hostage was none other than Madeline Eloise Harrington, HOA president of Oak Haven Preserve, 6'2" in Louboutins, blonde hair defying both gravity and good taste. The same creature who'd been measuring my grass blades with a ruler since the day I signed the papers on this 2-acre slice of heaven I paid $378,000 cash for, every dime of Daniel's death benefit, because the listing promised equestrian-friendly and low HOA involvement. Lies taste like sweet tea until you realize they're poisoned. Let me take you back so you feel this in your bones. My name's Riley Harper, badge 2147. 26 years walking the worst streets Chicago ever birthed. Lost my husband Daniel Harper, detective sergeant, to pancreatic cancer that turned a 220-pound Irish firefighter body into a ghost in 9 months flat. After the funeral, I couldn't breathe in that city anymore. Every siren sounded like the flatline that stole him. Every alley smelled like the hospital room where I held his hand while machines gave up. So I sold everything, loaded Thunder and Luna into a trailer that cost more than my first house, and drove south until the GPS said Oak Haven Preserve, Springfield County, population 4,200 souls and 1 devil in pearls. The realtor, Cindy Lou, bless her acrylic nails, swore the barn was pre-approved, the covenants barely enforced, and Madeline Harrington was just passionate about curb appeal. I should have known when Cindy Lou's smile twitched every time she said the word passionate. But the pasture rolled green straight into state forest, the sunrise painted the mist gold, and for the first time since Daniel's diagnosis, I slept without nightmares. So I signed, moved in, started framing the barn that would keep my horses warm when winter bit hard, red metal roof ordered, permits posted proud on the door like a middle finger to fate. Then Madeline arrived, Range Rover white as her soul was black, heels clicking across my gravel like gunshots, clipboard raised like Moses about to part my dreams. That agricultural abomination violates every line of our design guidelines, she announced, sunglasses reflecting my future in funeral colors. I tried polite. Lord knows I tried. 26 years of de-escalation muscle memory kicking in. Ma'am, I've got county permits, setbacks measured twice, everything legal. Her laugh could peel paint. Legal is whatever the architectural committee decides, darling, and we decide you're an eyesore. $300 a day, cash or Venmo, starting now. That night, I sat on the loft beams, legs dangling over nothing, boots creaking, moon silver on the pasture, and felt Daniel's ghost settle beside me like he used to on stakeouts. She's a bully with a crown, Ree, he whispered in that South Side accent I still hear in my sleep, and you've taken down worse with less. Something inside me, the part that survived drive-bys and domestic calls that ended in body bags, woke up hungry. This wasn't about a barn anymore. This was about a woman who saw a widow healing and decided grief was an invitation to feast. Madeline moved like a hurricane with a law degree. 48 hours later, she convened an emergency session in her cathedral-sized dining room that smelled like lemon oil and fear. She'd stacked the board with Reginald Reggie Whitmore, failed real estate flipper, Priscilla Lang, Botox martyr, and Gladys Kowalski, retired busybody with a vendetta against joy. Over $200. Bottle Pinot, they rewrote the bylaws on a laptop. Suddenly, any structure over 200 square feet needed aesthetic harmony review. $750 non-refundable fee. Unanimous vote required. Meetings only on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. sharp, because God forbid working people have a say. I walked into that marble mausoleum carrying one folder and 26 years of knowing exactly how far I could push before someone broke. While Madeline clicked through a PowerPoint titled, Saving Oak Haven from Itself, complete with sad violin music over drone shots of my barn framed like a horror movie, I waited for silence, then read aloud from the certified 1989 covenants, Section 8C, the one carved in legal stone. Lots exceeding 1 acre shall enjoy unrestricted equestrian privileges, including barns, arenas, and accessory structures. The room smelled like Chardonnay and panic. Reggie actually choked on a prosciutto-wrapped figure. Madeline went the color of cottage cheese left in the sun. Those documents are obsolete, she hissed, pearls clicking like teeth. I smiled the same smile I used on gang leaders right before the warrants got served. Tell that to the circuit court, because I filed for declaratory judgment at 8:03 this morning. She retaliated like a cornered hyena with a trust fund. Every sunrise brought a new violation taped to my door like love notes from Satan. Mailbox tilted 0.37 inches. Recycling bin visible for 9 minutes past curfew. Horse manure, biohazard, despite being composted 300 feet from any living soul. She called code enforcement, so often Inspector Todd started bringing donuts and apologies. Animal welfare showed up expecting neglect and left asking if I gave lessons. Then the piece de resistance, some silk-suited attorney from Harrington and Associates, yes, her husband's firm, filed for temporary restraining order claiming my barn would permanently depress property values by 18.4%. Judge signed it over a turkey sandwich. Construction froze. My framing crew stood around drinking bad coffee, while $14,000 worth of trusses warped in the rain. But here's the thing about spending a lifetime kicking indoors and dragging monsters into daylight. You learn their scent. While Madeline posted victory selfies with captions like, protecting our investment one eyesore at a time, I turned my kitchen into a command center. Security cameras on every corner, motion activated, 4K, cloud backup, because I've seen what desperate people do at 3 a.m. Every violation photographed, time-stamped, filed. Every phone call recorded, legal in one-party consent, Illinois. Every false report to every agency became another brick in the wall I was building around her. Then the neighbors started knocking, drawn like moths to the first honest flame they'd seen in years. Victor Ruiz, 71, Vietnam tunnel rat, forced to park his 72 Airstream 3 blocks away because recreational vehicles diminish sophistication. Lillian Brooks, 68, retired principal, fined $2,300 for a raised bed garden her husband planted the week before he died of a heart attack. Garden Madeline called agricultural terrorism. Marcus Patel, 42, software engineer, whose 10-year-old couldn't shoot hoops after 4 p.m. because repetitive noise violates peaceful enjoyment. We met in Victor's garage, smell of WD-40 and rebellion thick in the air, and I taught them what I taught every rookie who ever rode shotgun with me. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, documentation is body armor, and unity is the only weapon bullies can't buy. Madeline smelled the uprising and went full scorched earth. Roofing nails scattered across my driveway at 3:12 a.m., caught in glorious infrared by her white Range Rover, license plate Van 1TY, because subtlety is for peasants. Anonymous calls to state police claiming I was impersonating law enforcement before I even had the badge, forcing me to fax credentials at 2 a.m. while eating cold lo mein. Fake Facebook accounts with egg avatars screaming about Chicago thugs bringing drive-bys to our cul-de-sac. She even tried to buy me, showed up at twilight with a bottle of Screaming Eagle and a smile sharp as a shiv. Riley, darling, imagine the influence we'd wield together, you on the board, me guiding you. We could be unstoppable. I recorded every syllable, voice steady as a sniper's breath. Leave before I add attempted bribery of a peace officer to your growing rap sheet. Then the motherlode. Digging through county records at 1 a.m., fueled by gas station coffee and grief, I found $28,700 in HOA administrative consulting fees, paid to Harrington Luxury Properties, her own LLC, for services that existed only on paper. Kickbacks from every contractor she ever approved, distress sales she engineered, commissions double-dipped like chocolate fondue at a funeral. This wasn't an HOA. This was a racket wearing Kate Spade. The SWAT call was her magnum opus. 5:47 a.m. Burner phone purchased on her Visa at Walmart Supercenter. Traffic cams catching her Range Rover pinging the tower at 5:42. Voice disguised with a handkerchief but screaming my exact address, and armed suspect in camo threatening to execute trespassers. I stood in the frost with my hands high, heart jackhammering like my first foot chase, watching Sergeant Javier Morales, a guy I'd trained at a regional active shooter seminar, realize he'd been weaponized against his future commander. "Chief Harper," he whispered, rifle dipping like a curtain call at the end of a tragedy. "Ma'am, stand down, team, we've been had." The fallout was biblical and beautiful. By 9 a.m., every news chopper in the Tri-County area hovered over my pasture like vultures at a banquet. By noon, the body cam footage hit the internet. Madeline on her driveway screaming, "She's a corrupt cop destroying our families," while reporters asked increasingly pointed questions about false 911 calls. By 6 p.m., the clip had 2.3 million views, a TikTok remix with air raid sirens, and a hashtag SWE Chief trending nationwide. The DA filed charges before the sun set: felony false report, misuse of emergency systems, harassment, attempted intimidation of a public official, conspiracy after the roofing nail video surfaced. We called the reckoning ourselves. Emergency meeting at the Oak Haven Community Center. 68 of 71 homeowners crammed shoulder to shoulder, air thick with burnt coffee and sweet karma. Victor ran point like a drill sergeant. Lillian presented the evidence binder that weighed more than my saddle. Every forged invoice, every selective fine, every nail scattered, every nail in Madeline's coffin. When we rolled the SWAT body cam of her meltdown, grown men wept from secondhand embarrassment. Women cheered like it was the Super Bowl. I took the mic last, boots still muddy from morning chores, voice calm the way it gets right before you breach a door. "I came here to heal," I said. "To give my horses the life my husband never got to finish, to wake up without hearing flatlines in my dreams." All I wanted was a barn. I looked straight at Madeline, shrinking in her pearl choker like a vampire at sunrise. "You saw a widow and smelled blood. You weaponized emergency services against an innocent woman because she dared to build shelter for animals that kept her sane. But here's what you forgot. Power built on fear is just a house of cards in a hurricane. And lady, the storm just arrived." The county attorney stood, voice booming like Judgment Day. "Oak Haven Preserve HOA is dissolved effective immediately pending full criminal audit. Mrs. Harrington is barred from any fiduciary role in Illinois for life. The $28,700 in missing funds will be repaid with interest plus punitive damages." The room detonated, applause loud enough to rattle windows. Someone started chanting "Chief, Chief," until Victor hugged me so hard my spine cracked like gunfire. 6 months later, I'm leaning against my finished barn at golden hour, red roof glowing like absolution, thunder lipping carrot pieces from my palm, while kids from the Harper Horsemanship Scholarship Program laugh in the arena we built with Madeline's restitution money. Crime in Riverside County is down 29%, community trust up 44%, and every Friday night we host barn dance for badges, raising college funds for kids who want to serve like Daniel did. Local news ran a feature, "The Barn That Broke the HOA," complete with slow-motion shots of Luna galloping through wildflowers. Madeline, guilty plea faster than a teenager caught with beer, 240 hours picking up highway trash in an orange vest that photographs beautifully with her orange spray tan, $8,200 fine. House sold at sheriff's auction for $220,000 under asking. Now selling timeshares in Peoria, where nobody returns her calls. Word is she's already filed 9 complaints with her new condo board. I mailed their president my entire case file with a post-it. "Welcome to the Thunderdome." Sometimes I climb the loft at 3 a.m. when the nightmares creep back, sit where Daniel's photo hangs beside my new badge, smell of sweet hay and leather and second chances thicken the air, and I draw a breath that doesn't taste like grief anymore. The barn is done, the horses are fat, the monsters are in cages made of their own making. Justice didn't just visit Oak Haven. She unpacked, hung her hat, and started throwing parties that last till dawn. But here's what still claws at me on quiet nights. Was the public crucifixion necessary? Should I have ended it with a quiet settlement, spared the spectacle, or was the viral humiliation the only language a tyrant ever truly understands? When you finally hold the power to destroy someone completely, legally, morally, publicly, do you swing the hammer or offer mercy? Tell me in the comments, where's the line between justice and vengeance? When the bully finally falls, do you help them up or make sure the whole world watches them crawl? And if you've got your own Madeline story, spill every last detail, because somewhere out there another widow is staring at violation notices at 3 a.m., thinking she's too tired to fight, and she needs to know the barn always gets finished, the horses always get fed, and sometimes the empire that crumbles started with one phone call too many. Subscribe if you believe peace should outnumber persecution. Next week, the veterans who turned a condemned VFW hall into a community fortress, and the city council that learned the hard way you don't bring eminent domain to a firefight. Until then, keep your cameras rolling, your covenants original, and your heart bigger than their hate. The horses remember. So does the badge. And trust me, we never forget.